Ms. Heather Osborne, she's our assistant principal and athletic director. So if you have any athletic-related questions this evening, she can certainly help. And then sitting next to Heather Osborne is Ms. Paula Dalton, and she is our college and career specialist. So if you have any specific questions in regards to college and career or scholarships, things like that, she'll be happy to help you as well. And then sitting beside Mrs. Dalton is Ms. Karina Vasitas. She is our registrar, and she's here this evening to hear the presentation, also answer any questions you may have about enrollment for next year. And then over to my left over here is Mrs. Penny Medlock, and she is Heather's Osborne's administrative assistant. So if you have any questions again about athletics, Ms. Osborne and Mrs. Medlock can certainly help you out. The agenda for this evening is we want to go and talk about the history and timeline of ACP. I'm going to share a little story with you. There's a lot of misnomers about ACP and how it came to become ACP, so I want to share that story with you. Talk about the program offerings that we look forward to having next school year and in the future at the new high school. The extracurricular opportunities that we'll be extending to students, processes that we have in place currently, and those are the processes we also want to evaluate moving forward. And then I want to share with you the school itself, and have you look at the school so you can see what the students have to look forward to and what we're excited to be providing to the students next year. And then once you get done with that, I'll ask if anyone is interested in helping with the new school development committee. And there'll be a QR code that you can go ahead and fill out if you are interested, and I'll explain more about that as we go through the presentation. And then we'll open it up to questions and answers. The presentation itself is about an hour, sometimes it's a little less, sometimes a little bit more. And then we'll go ahead and answer questions for about a half an hour or so. And if we don't get all the questions answered, we'll stay and answer any questions that you may have that weren't covered during the general Q&A session or during the presentation itself. So starting off, I just want to talk about how ACP became ACP. So ACP actually started as Hamilton Prep. In 2006, I was the administrator over at Hamilton High School. I was the dean of students for the sophomore class. And Dr. Fred Dupree, who was the principal at Hamilton High School, had an opportunity to attend a summer institute at Harvard. And one of the courses, or one of the programs that he participated in, was the concept of a school within a school. And so when he returned to Arizona, he had the idea of developing a school within a school within Hamilton High School. And that turned out to be Hamilton Prep. So Dr. Dupree brought me to his office and asked me if I would be willing to be in charge of this program and build the school. And so we set forth to build a school within school for Hamilton High School. Now, Hamilton High School, as you know, was the largest school in the district. At the time, in 2006, we had about 3,200 students in the school. And there were times that I would bring a new sophomore in, and the town had less than 3,200 people living in it. And so it was just a culture shock to some students. And we were unintentionally setting some students up for frustration and even failure. We didn't want to do that. So we wanted to provide an alternative to the larger high schools within CUSC. 2006 was also prior to a lot of the charter schools moving into the area, and there really were no alternatives to the larger high schools that Chandler Unified offered at the time. So Hamilton Prep is that concept. So when I was put in charge in developing the school, I worked alongside Dr. Dupree, and we opted to go ahead and develop a college prep program that was going to be focused on grades 9 through 12. However, I started doing more research on college prep models. The majority of college prep models are 6th grade level models, and so we changed the structure from 9 to 12 to 7 to 12. So Dr. Dupree and I went to the governing board, and we presented the idea for Hamilton Prep and told it was going to be a college prep model, have a curriculum primarily in honors and AP courses. It was going to be open to grades 7 through 12. We wanted to start it in July 2007. Well, the governing board approved our proposal, and so we set out and worked to build Hamilton Prep the remainder of the 2006-2007 school year. Once the board approved Hamilton Prep, I asked for any teachers, students, and parents, or guardians, and community members who were interested in being a part of the school development committee, sit down with me so we could all work together to develop the school that we wanted Hamilton Prep to become. Every time I have been involved with a transition or opening of a school, I've always involved the community in helping me develop the policies and procedures that we want the school to become. And so this is my third transition with Hamilton Prep ACP, and I'm doing the same, which is why I said at the end of tonight's presentation, I'm going to be asking for individuals that lease space from General Session Church, which is now Conference Church, an alma school in Germany. And while we opened it up initially for grades 7 through 12, we actually started with grades 7 and 8 only, and then added a grade each year once the school started going. So I opened Hamilton Prep in 2007. I had 80 students initially. I had 57 graders, and I had 38 graders. So that's how Hamilton Prep came to be. But as Hamilton Prep became a little bit more popular, and a little more well-known with families within the district, we started to exceed the capacity that we had available at the church. And I had to keep going to the elders and asking them if I could have more rooms or more space available to go ahead and accommodate the demand. And after a time, there just was no more space available at the church because they were still running their church, and we were initially occupying one building, and by the time we left, we occupied the entire building. We added a portable, and we were also occupying 2 classrooms in another building. So in the 2010-11 school year, the district started to look at what could we do to accommodate the demand for Hamilton Prep, because more and more families were interested in being a part of the school. So district superintendency decided to evaluate the schools north of Pecos that had declining enrollment because the neighborhoods were a little bit older. There's not as many kids that are using neighborhoods anymore as they were when they built the schools in the 70s. And they developed a committee and had a parent representative from each school that was being considered to be repurposed and remodeled to support Hamilton Prep. So that committee worked during the 2010-2011 school year, and in the spring of 2011, it was determined that Erie Elementary would be the school that would be repurposed and remodeled to accommodate and to build Hamilton Prep. So we started the repurposing and remodeling of the school. They remodeled the classroom place, the pods to make it appropriate for a high school environment. And then the gym that you're sitting in tonight was the only building that was added new to the campus. Everything else was remodeled appropriately for a high school through junior high environment. In 2009, the district opened Chandler Traditional Junior High. Chandler Traditional Junior High is located right by Chandler High School. It's now ACP Oakland. In 2009, when Chandler Traditional Junior High opened, they were an alternative to the junior highs for families that were looking to continue the traditional education path. Now, Hamilton Prep was never marketed as a traditional school. We were a non-traditional campus. The students actually sat at round tables. We didn't have a certain curricular method that we followed. This was like Saxon and Spalding. We differentiated instruction based on the needs of the students. We were never, ever considered a traditional campus. Chandler Traditional Junior High, though, offered families that opportunity that want to continue with the traditional model. Well, when the repurposing and remodeling of Erie Elementary started, the district realized that they had 2 schools that were going to be within a mile of one another that were marketing or targeting the same type of family population. And so they decided what we need to do then, we need to look at what we should do with both of these schools. And so at that time, it was decided that what they wanted to do is they wanted to go ahead and combine both schools into one school, with Chandler Traditional Junior High being the middle school end of the new school, and Hamilton Prep being the high school end of the new school. So once the district figured out that structure, then we started moving towards, okay, what's the school going to be called? And Dr. Castillo chose Arizona College Prep. And so the Erie campus became Arizona College Prep Erie, and Chandler Traditional Junior High became Arizona College Prep Oakland, but the premise being one school locations. During the 2011-2012 school year, once the structure of everything was determined, the students that attended both Hamilton Prep and Chandler Traditional Junior High voted on the new school's ACP's colors and mascots. It was also during this time that the school development committee was formed again to decide where do we want the direction of ACP to go. It was also during the school year that we realized that the program that we had in place in Hamilton Prep needed needed to be reevaluated as well. And I'm talking about the academic program. Because Hamilton Prep offered only honors and AP level courses. There were no alternatives to honors and AP. And just like when we were unintentionally setting up students for frustration and failure at Hamilton High School because of a large school that they were coming to, we were doing the same thing at Hamilton Prep. We were unintentionally setting up some students for frustration and failure because they were forced to take all honors and AP courses. And some students are very passionate and excel in various content areas. Like, you have your students that excel in math and science, but don't necessarily find the humanities to be their cup of tea. And so they struggle in those honors and AP courses, and vice versa. So it was during this time that we realized we needed to offer an alternative to an all honors and AP curriculum. So we began offering core courses, so that students could go ahead and pick the academic path that worked best for them. And they could focus on those content areas that they are passionate about, but not necessarily have to take an honors and AP course in an area that they weren't necessarily so passionate about. The other thing that started when we moved to ACP is we started an athletic program. When we were at Hamilton Prep, we were under the umbrella of Hamilton High School. So all of my athletes that wanted to participate in high school sports would go to Hamilton High School, participate in our athletic program, but then would attend their classes at Hamilton Prep. Other extracurriculars such as band and orchestra, we had that program at Hamilton Prep, so they did not go over to Hamilton High School for that. It was primarily just for athletics. But once we moved over and became ACP and became our own independent school, we wanted to make sure we had a high school athletic program. So we opened in 2012 with a change in the program that was offered. We also had an athletic program that started with 7 sports in 2012. And again, since we started a new transition period of the school, I asked for a committee of students, parents, teachers, and community members that wanted to be a part of a school development committee to evaluate the processes and policies that we had in place, and if we should restructure, reevaluate, get rid of, add something for the new school. And so we worked on that. And then in the school, the 11-12 school year, as I mentioned, the district remodeled the campus, they added the gym, and then we came here in July of 2012, where we've been since. And ACP has been a successful school, both the open campus and the degree campus. And again, we started having quite a bit of demand for the school. And we are now completely out of space as far as allowing more and more students to come in. We're using every square inch of this building every hour of the day to accommodate the number of students that we have on this campus. So in 2019, the district evaluated purchasing some land up of Gilbert and Ocotillo to build an additional high school. When they purchased that land, Dr. Gilbert, who is the Assistant Superintendent of Secondary Education, evaluated the idea of having ACP Erie move to the new high school location. So he looked at all the different options that new property could accommodate and evaluated the various ideas that he had. And then Dr. Gilbert and I went out and held some community meetings in January to discuss the various proposals that could be presented to the governing board for the new property, and also additional boundary changes that would occur to accommodate the increased enrollment at Perry and Hamilton High School. In the end, Dr. Gilbert recommended to the governing board that they do indeed look to move ACP Erie to the new property, and he also proposed some boundary changes to alleviate the populations in Hamilton and Perry. The vote was supposed to take place, the recommendation and the vote was supposed to take place in March of last year, but they COVID hit, and so everything's been delayed. So Dr. Gilbert made his recommendation to the governing board in September, and then on October 14th, the governing board voted 5-0 to go ahead and accept the district recommendation and to indeed move ACP Erie to the new high school location and adjust the boundaries for Perry and Hamilton High School. So they adopted a 2-square-mile boundary for the new high school. The 2-square-mile boundary is from Cooper to Lindsay Road, east and west, and the north and south is from Chandler with that, the elementaries that feed into those junior highs include Carlson, Ryan, and Sanford Elementary. So the governing board, as I mentioned, approved 5-0 to go ahead and accept the district's recommendation to move the new site with the following boundaries. And here's the boundaries that we just talked about. So you can see that they went ahead and they moved some Hamilton boundaries to Chandler High School. That's CC and CD. And then they changed this boundary, this square mile from Perry to Vashon High School. And then the new high school, ACP High School, has these following 2 square mile boundaries for reader students to attend the new school. So that's just a little bit, well, that's the story of how ACP can be where we are right now as we head into our next chapter as a school. When we go and talk about the academic course offerings that we're providing to our students, the one thing that we want to do is we want to continue to focus on an academic path that allows students to align their personal career and really goals with the courses that they want to take. Which is why we adjusted our course program back in 2011, 2012 to accommodate for our core level program so students can focus on different academic areas. We'll offer on-level and accelerated courses. We have numerous elective opportunities. We'll be able to add more at the new site. And we'll continue to have dual enrollment and AP opportunities in which students can earn up to 80 college credits. And I'll explain dual enrollment and AP here towards. So looking at our courses that we're going to offer, I want to share with you what we currently have available for students to select to take, and what we're going to be offering next school year and in the future. So we'll start by content area, and we'll do English first. So our current offerings are all on the left-hand side. So you can see when it comes to English, we have the core offerings that the students can take. We also have the honors and AP offerings as well. ACP is an AP capstone school. You have to apply to be an AP capstone school and be accepted by the college board as an AP capstone school. And because we're an AP capstone school, we can offer these courses, AP seminar and AP research. We offer these courses currently, but we just haven't had the demand for it. And the reason that we haven't had the demand for it is because these courses, even though they fall under English, the Arizona Board of Regents, or ABOR, did not accept these courses as English credits. So when students find out that these are actually elective credits, even though they're kind of like English content with them, they often opt to not take these courses and move over to this side of the course offerings. So we will continue to offer those, and if we got a demand for it, we'll put the program together. If we have it in place currently, we just need to have demand by students to take the courses. When it comes to our math courses, again, you have your current offerings along the left. We have everything from the starting level of Algebra 1 to the capstone math classes, CUSD, linear algebra, and advanced math topic. But some of the future offerings that we're going to start immediately next year are all within the core level of math courses available. So we'll be offering geometry, algebra 2, pre-calculus, and math year 4. Again, all at the core level for students who want to focus on different areas besides honors and AP and the math courses. When it comes to science, math is the language of science. So whatever science course your child is enrolled in, it has to align with the math course that is required for students to be in that course, and the prerequisites that need to be in the science classes as well. But again, we have our current offerings on the left, but we're going to be offering some new courses next school year that we're excited about. We'll be offering core biology and core chemistry, but we're also going to be offering biotechnology. And that's a new course that we're going to be offering on this campus, and we're excited to have. We are actually going to have a biotech lab built in the science wing of the campus that will focus strictly on the biotechnology classes. We have students expressing interest in this, we have teachers expressing interest in this, and so we're excited to be offering it next year. Obviously, it'll be starting at level 1 next year, and then we'll be adding level 2 in the 22-23 school year. When you look at social studies offerings, again, our current offerings are on the left, but we're going to be offering 3 new courses immediately next year. The first being a core level world history and geography class for incoming freshmen that want to take a core level history and geography class. We're also going to be offering AP microeconomics in addition to AP macroeconomics. So if students want to focus on AP micro, like the business majors or students that are interested in business, they'll have that opportunity to do so. And then we're also going to be offering a core psychology class next year. If students want to take psychology and not an AP. When it comes to our old language, a little bit of a story here. So when I started Hamilton Prep, we tried to do everything very deliberate. We tried to make very deliberate decisions of what we were going to do. So when we started Hamilton Prep, I chose 2 languages to be a part of the Hamilton Prep curriculum. And the reason for that is I wanted to choose a language that was going to be critical regionally, and then a language that was going to be critical globally. Well, a critical language regionally that will help students market themselves is Spanish. So that's why Spanish has always been a part of ACP and Hamilton Prep. And in 2007, the critical language on a global scale was Chinese. So because of that, we added Chinese to the Hamilton Prep curriculum. So students had the option at Hamilton Prep to take either Spanish or Chinese. Now, since 2007, the Department of Defense has actually taken off Chinese from their essential language or critical language list. In 2007, it was on that list, but it's since been taken off. The reason for it being taken off the Department of Defense's critical language list is because the majority of Chinese students learn English. So it wasn't essential for American students to learn Chinese. But we still continue to have this course on our campus. We also realized that some students just did not do well in Spanish and or Chinese. Sometimes the grammar kind of threw them for a little bit of a loop. So we wanted to offer something in addition to Spanish and Chinese when we moved over from Hamilton Prep to ACP. And so we started offering American Sign Language as well. And so we currently have 4 levels of ASL that students can take, and then we have 6 levels of Spanish and 6 levels of Chinese that students can take. Future course offerings, and I've had a lot of students go up and ask me, are we going to have other languages at the new high school? The answer is not initially. We're going to continue with the 3 languages that we currently offer. And as we get more students and have more demand for other languages, and we have a teacher for it, then we'll evaluate adding additional languages to the course catalog for students to register to for ACP High School. But next year, we're going to be having the 3 languages that we currently have offered to students to go ahead and enroll. When it comes to the career and technical education that we have, this is CTE that we offer on our campus. The current offerings include film and TV production, which I appreciate them all this evening. The students are here live streaming this for families that could not attend or wanted to watch from home. We have marketing and software and app design. Courses that we'll be offering next year. And the students, when I talk to them about this, they're very excited about culinary. They've wanted culinary for a very long time. We just don't have a facility for it. But the new campus does have a culinary room, so we'll be able to offer culinary next year. We're also going to be offering graphic design and sports med and rehab. So those are the 3 courses that we'll be offering initially. You're going to see film and TV again on a future slide, and I'll explain why. On the fine arts offerings that we offer, we have theater, stagecraft, orchestra, band, and choir. But next year, I'm excited to be offering more in the fine arts arena. We'll have a marching band on our campus, which will be nice to have at our football games, and also our pep band to have a pep for basketball games. But also for these students to be able to compete as well as a marching band. And then we've got color and winter guard associated with the marching band, looking to offer jazz band and concert band as well, and then AP music theory. We've had a few students ask for AP music theory. We're hoping we can offer next, or we're going to offer next year. We're hoping we can build a class for next year as well based on that. Other fine art offerings that we have the art, ceramics, AP studio art, drawing, painting, and multimedia and film again. And I just talked about film and TV. The reason that we have film and TV listed in both CTE and fine arts is Mr. Lindstrom, our instructor for this class, is certified to teach CTE and give students a CTE credit, but is also certified to teach it as a fine arts class. That's unique, and it's also very helpful because universities require a credit of fine arts or a credit of CTE for admission into a university. And so students have the opportunity to go ahead and pick and choose which credit, if they take film and TV, they want posted on their transcript for college admission. So they have the opportunity to get either the CTE credit or the fine arts credit. But some future offerings we'll be offering will be sculpture, AP art history next year, and then dance as well, because we have a dance room on the campus as well. And then when it comes to physical education, we basically currently offer everything that you're going to see at the other high schools as far as the general general PE class, we have the weightlifting class, we have the athletic locker class for our varsity athletes, spirit line. Students need to have half credit of health to graduate from high school, and so we have obviously half health. And then yoga was actually brought to the district by ACP. We had one of our teachers write up a course proposal to offer yoga to students, and the district committee that looks at new courses accepted the recommendation and the course proposal for yoga. And so we actually started yoga in the district here at ACP. It's a very popular class, but now all the other high schools offer it as well, and it's a very popular class there as well. But it's kind of nice to see that, the small little high school impacting some of the courses that you're seeing at the district level. And just like with our full language classes, any future physical education offerings will be contingent on demand. And then some of the miscellaneous items that students can be involved in. Currently, they can be student aid. We'll continue to have release time for those students that go to seminary. Robotics will have their own class like they do here. We have our journalism program. Speech and debate. Last year, our speech and debate team were the state champions. So it's a very popular program. A lot of students want to be a part of the speech and debate. They're actually going to have a special speech and debate room at the new high school to accommodate for the program and the success that they've been having, and to accommodate the numbers of students that want to be involved in it. Student government, obviously, continue to have opportunities for students that want to go to EVIT, or the East Valley Institute of Technology, to take specific trade classes like they do currently. We'll continue to offer that opportunity for students in the new school. Future offerings include principles of leadership, creative writing, honors academic decathlon, and then the Air Force Junior ROTC program. We are working right now with reaching out to the Air Force about having an Air Force Junior ROTC program specifically on our campus. However, the time frame that we're working under, it may be a little bit tight to get it all taken care of. And so we've actually reached out to, and I was just contacted today by Lieutenant Colonel over at Hamilton High School about students wanting to be a part of ROTC, working at Hamilton High School with their program. It's the same thing like you see with bachelor's doing with Steele and Perry. The students will go ahead and share that program when they go to that campus. We'll be doing the same thing if we can't get ROTC specifically in our program. So we'll have ROTC next year. It's just going to be where it's going to be held. And right now it's something that we'll be sharing the program with Hamilton High School. All right, as far as athletics go, we're currently part of the Arizona Interscholastic Association AIA 3A Conference. We will continue to be part of the 3A Conference next school year, 21-22. However, in 22-23, we anticipate going to the 4A Conference because of the anticipated size of the school. The reason that we'll stay 3A next year is because we're in the first year of a 2-year block, and so they'll continue to have us in that 2-year block next year. Then they evaluate school enrollment numbers for all the schools, and they shift as necessary. Currently, at our current location, the only sport that we currently do not offer is baseball, but we will have baseball at the new school. You'll see when you see the schematics, we have a baseball field at the new school, so we'll have baseball next year for sure. So we offer every single sport that all the other schools within the AIA offer. We offer them at a freshman, JV, and varsity level, depending on the sport. Very successful athletic program. We're proud of our athletes and what our coaches have done. We look forward to seeing what happens with our athletic program as we get to a new site and actually have facilities that are going to help our programs in general. So it's going to be an exciting transition for our athletes who are not used to having facilities. We're looking forward to having state-of-the-art facilities in the new campus. So moving on to some processes and policies. I want to share with you a few things that we have in place, past processes and current processes that we have. So the reason for this is because when we did our January meetings, there were some processes and questions that families had about what we currently do at ACP. There's also some misunderstanding of what we currently do at ACP. So I want to share that because these are the processes that we are going to evaluate as a school development committee and determine how do we want to move forward with these processes and policies that we have in place. So the policies that we're going to look at specifically, the big three that were a topic of discussion when we had our meetings last January, were enrollment, the placement assessment, and student dress code. So I want to talk about those a little bit this evening. Again, no agenda, because the school development committee is going to be the final say as to how to move forward. But I just want to share what we're currently doing and how things have transitioned a little bit even this So every student that chooses to attend ACP selects ACP as the school they want to attend. And so in order for us to communicate with families early on in the process, we put together an application. We're a public school. This is not an entrance application or an enrollment application. It's basically, what we kind of changed it to is basically an interest form. It allowed us to find out who was interested in ACP, so we could go ahead and start emailing critical dates that families needed to be aware of as far as the district requirements for enrollment into an open enrollment school. And so we had an application in place, and families had to submit that application. And again, it just allowed us to go ahead and start communicating with families on a timely basis. Part of that application included information about the district's open enrollment application. So all families that wanted to attend ACP submitted the application and were communicated with about the open enrollment application. The open enrollment application is available in December, and there's a date in January when families have to submit that open enrollment application. The open enrollment application is evaluated and accepted based on the date and time stamp submitted on the open enrollment application, the priority level given to the individual based on the district criteria, and then we also look at discipline, grades, and attendance. It's the same way that any administrator in the district evaluates the open enrollment application. All principals do the exact same thing. So families would go ahead and turn in their open enrollment application on the date that it was turned in, and then we would review the OE application for the criteria that I mentioned, and then we would submit an email or send an email to the families and tell them the status of their open enrollment application, whether it was accepted or unaccepted, and the reason for it being unaccepted. Which in our case, the typical reason is simply enrollment capacity. I just run out of room, and I can't accept everybody that wants to attend the school. Once we sent out the email as to whether a student was open enrollment was accepted or unaccepted, we shared information about the date for a placement assessment. I'm going to talk about the placement assessment on the next slide. And then families that were accepted on the OE would come in, and the students would take a placement assessment in English and math. And then once they completed that placement assessment, we would communicate our findings. That's how the student did on the placement assessment, our recommendations for courses to enroll based on the placement assessment. And then the families would finally complete a registration packet. And then they would be enrolled into the school. Because we're moving to the new high school, we've changed the enrollment procedures for this upcoming school year. So families that are living within the boundaries, use program boundaries, or students that are 8th graders at ACP Open, automatically roll in to our student information system. They automatically become students at the new high school. There's nothing they need to do. That just automatically happens. However, families that are not living within the boundaries, or do not currently have an 8th grader at ACP Open, need to submit the interest form, used to be the application, need to submit an interest form which is on our website, so we can go ahead and start communicating with them, as we have in the past, the dates that are coming up and need to be aware of. The placement assessment, I'm sorry, I apologize. So, with families that are not in the assigned boundaries, we encourage them to get that information, that interest form to us as quickly as possible, again, so we can just communicate the date, and we can let them know what is happening. And both of those interest forms are available on the ACP Open website. There we go. Okay, so the placement assessment. So the placement assessment actually started in 2008. Here's how the placement assessment came to be. When I opened Hamilton Prep, I was asked to go to a charter school, a K-6 charter school, and talk to the principal at that charter school to see if their families that were in 6th grade would be interested in learning about a new school opening up in Chandler, Hamilton Prep. So I went to the principal, I asked her, would you be interested in letting me speak with your families? She said, absolutely. So I met with all the families of the 7th grade students, shared a presentation about Hamilton Prep, what the school is going to be offering, they were all very interested. I asked them if they wanted to have a tour of the facility, the church, so they could see where their children would be going to school. And they said absolutely, so we set up a tour, gave them the tour. They were all very excited about Hamilton Prep, and they all indicated they wanted to come, and they actually completed the registration packets that they needed to complete in order to attend. Well, the first day of school came, and I had like 80 students walk in, but not one of them was from this charter school that I spoke to. And so I was perplexed. I was like, this is very interesting because they were all super excited about the school. They all said they were coming, but none of them showed up. So what happened? So I reached out to the principal of the charter school and I said, can you please help me out here? I'm just wondering why none of your families chose to come to Hamilton Prep. And she said, oh yeah, I can tell you, they didn't have to take a test. And my background's in marketing, so I thought, well, if they want a test, I can give them a test. So I put together a placement assessment. It was originally just a marketing tool because some families wanted to have their students take a test as part of the registration process. We could go ahead and put a test into place. Again, it's a placement assessment for a public school. It's not an entrance assessment. We can't do that. But what started as simply a marketing tool became probably one of the most beneficial tools as an administrator that I've ever put forth in a school. Because I didn't realize the amount of information that placement assessment would allow me to provide and communicate with the family. And when you go into high school, everything counts. So the more communication I can have on the front end with the family about what I'm seeing in a snapshot of time, the better it is for that student in the end. It surprised me. I had no intention of creating a tool that was going to provide me with all the information as an educator. I was just simply trying to create a marketing tool for families that wanted to come to Hamilton Prep to entice them to come to Hamilton Prep. But now I can have conversations about, we're seeing this based on your child's performance in the placement assessment. So based on this, we're recommending that they go here. Maybe they need to go to geometry instead of algebra. Maybe they need to be in a core level English class instead of honors. It just allows us to have communication with families. Because everything counts in high school. Academics, discipline, attendance. Everything counts. And so if we can set a student up on the front end for success in the back end, we've done a huge service for that family and for that student. And without that placement assessment, they would be entering and I'd be entering all the students in blind. I wouldn't have the data necessarily. I realize you can get data in other areas and avenues, I understand that. But I wouldn't have the data that I could put together a form explaining what I'm seeing in this snapshot of time. Now obviously, as parents, you know your child better than we do. We're never going to say you don't. But it just allowed me and my team to have conversations with families about what we're seeing and what we recommend. So because the assessment became such a valuable tool, I continue to use it year after year after year to help starting those conversations with families. The placement assessment, however, is not going to be required this year. We are going to make it an option this year because I need to have something in place with the school development committees to decide the future of the placement assessment. We're going to keep it optional for families that do want to take a placement assessment so we can tell them about what we're seeing in a snapshot of time. But it's up to them if they want to take it or not. Now, ACP Ultimate will continue the placement assessment. I'm a huge proponent of any time you have an opportunity to practice something, you practice it. And for me, in many instances, the placement assessment is just an opportunity to practice taking an exam. Because students are going to be taking the SAT or ACT in high school. And even if they're not college bound, they may be taking a CTE course where they're going to take a certification exam to get a certificate in that field that they're studying on campus. So I'm just trying to provide as many opportunities for students to practice what's they're going to find happening during their high school career. And so, like I said, while the placement assessment was a marketing tool initially, it's become a very valuable academic tool for us to help have conversations with families. And the final item that was brought up in the meetings was student dress code. Currently, students at ACP wear uniforms. Our dress code, though, has been significantly modified from what it was at Hamilton Prep to where we are now. When we opened Hamilton Prep, kind of have a picture in your head of what school uniforms look like. We're very different as to what school uniforms look like as far as we're a little non-traditional when it comes to the uniforms. The biggest thing that you're going to see is the students have to wear polos. They have to wear polo shirts. They're either purple, black, gray, or white. And they need to be tucked in Monday through Thursday, and they have our ACP crest on. So that's the shirts they need to wear. When it comes to the pants and shorts, they can wear solid black, khaki, gray, or navy blue pants or shorts. Those are required. They can wear denim and corduroy. Their denim and corduroy can have distressed areas on it, just no holes Monday through Thursday. They don't have to wear belts. We actually got rid of having students wearing belts because a lot of them were just cutting their belt loops, and they look kind of silly. So we got rid of the belts. When it comes to skirts, they can wear navy black khaki or plaid, checker, or denim. Outerwear, so in the cooler months of Arizona, they can wear jackets, sweaters, sweatshirts, and hoodies that are either have something related to ACP, whether it be ACP wrestling or ACP speech and debate, whatever it is, something related to ACP. It can be a college theme, a college sweatshirt, or it can be a military branch, not camouflage, but a military branch. If they don't have an ACP logo on there or military college, it needs to be purple, black, gray, or white, or a combination of those colors. We are sponsored by Under Armour, so since we are an Under Armour school, students can wear an Under Armour sweatshirt or hoodie of any color, as long as it's Under Armour. Socks and shoes are basically what you're going to see at all the other high schools. For the socks, you're just going to allow leggings, leg warmers, fishnets, or thigh highs. And then shoes must be worn at all times. We do not allow flip-flops. They can't wear sliders, and they can't wear slippers except on designated spirit days. As far as hair goes, hair needs to be combed, but they can wear color. And we have quite a few students that choose to color their hair. I think a lot of our students are a little bored during quarantine, and they try every color possible. We have the gowns. When it comes to Friday dress code, what you're going to see is the basic changes on the shirts. They can wear a t-shirt on Friday. They don't have to have shirts tucked in on Friday. Again, we want it to be something school-related, whether it be, for example, when our 8th graders were promoted from 8th grade to their freshman year, they would go, some of them would take a trip to Washington, D.C., they would get a close-up t-shirt, they would wear their close-up t-shirt to school. Anything that's school-related. Pants and shorts are the same, except we do now allow on Fridays for students to wear denim that does have holes. We just want to see more denim than holes. When we have the outerwear, it's the same rules that apply on Monday through Thursday when it comes to the outerwear that students can wear. And then when it comes to the free dress standards that we have in place at our campus, we just follow the district dress code that you're going to see in the course the course catalog related pamphlets that all the high schools have, which are all under the all in compliance with Arizona Revised Statutes 15-342.2. So we share that information. We have free dress days as to what students can and cannot wear. We just want to make sure that they're appropriate because we don't want to waste time taking students out of class to address attire. So we try to make sure that we communicate what they can and cannot. Some general information that I want you to be aware of in regards to the new school. Transportation. This is very unique. ACP High School will be the only high school that will provide transportation to all students that attend throughout the district boundaries. So you just need to find the bus depot that is closest to your residence, and you can have your student be picked up and dropped off at the bus depot during the course of the school year. We are going to be adding more depots north of Pecos, since we're going to be moving from this area, since families that are currently living in this area need transportation. So we anticipate our current site being one of the bus depots, new bus depots, for students to select, if it's closest to them, to continue with transportation. So that's very unique to ACP High School. The school start and time has not yet been determined. It's based on transportation. They'll kind of help you decide on the time. You can anticipate a time anywhere between 7:15 and 7:30. Just trying to stay away from like a 7:22 start, something like that. And then school size. As far as the school size goes, we anticipate an enrollment next year of about 1,100 to 1,200 students. That's what we're kind of looking at, grades 9 through 12. Because all of our current students, and when you think about these numbers, we currently have close to 900 students at ACP capacity of the school is 600. So we have 900 students here. Now, obviously, COVID, some students elected to go to general online. But we have 900 students on paper attending ACP. All students grades 9 through 11 in ACP area will automatically go to the new high school. And then we have the students coming from ACP Open to the new high school, and we have our boundary students coming to the new high school. So you're anticipating about 1,100 to 1,200 students at the new high school. I know people ask the question a lot, well, we know how big is the school going to get. When I have meetings with the construction personnel, I keep hearing, remember, the school will be built for 1,500. Can I see it in 2,000? Absolutely. Where are we going to try to stay? We're going to try to stay at a small high school that we've always been. So regardless, we'll still be the smallest high school in Chile. But just to let you know, those are the numbers we kind of looking at. You may have heard in the board meeting, they're talking about school facilities board and the capacity being 3,000 students. You need to remember that the school facilities board, when they put numbers on the size of the school, they look at every square inch of the campus. So they look at like restrooms and hallways and all the square footage that they offer, and then they put the numbers based on that. So there's a lot of areas that you're not going to have classes being held. So that 3,000 number, I don't want anyone to think, oh my gosh, 2,000, because that's a number that's including vacation or hallways and things like that. Can you just hold your question to the end? I apologize. All right. So let's show you the school. So this is the new school. If you're familiar with the area, this is Brooks Farm Road right here. So you're looking north to the school. This building right here is the administrative building. There's also classrooms on the top floor. And then we have an academic building here and an academic building here. As far as the footprint of the campus itself, again, this is Brooks Farm Road down here. And you've got Gilbert over here to the west. So you have our athletic facilities all on the west end of the campus. You have parking spaces for student parking, faculty parking, some visitor parking. Then you have the building itself on this side. The building is all interconnected except for the cafeteria. So when you look at the parking spaces, you're going to see that there's close to 900 spaces of student parking. That was deliberate and intentional. We wanted to make sure that we had ample parking for students attending the school. We wanted to be good neighbors and not have students parking in the neighborhoods around there. So you have ample parking for students to park their cars on the campus property. And obviously, administration will do their job to make sure that students are not parking in the neighborhood and impeding on the communities that are to the east and south of us. I've had some questions about what does the traffic flow look like. So this is obviously could be changed based on what we learn. You never know what's going to happen until it actually starts happening, but we'll evaluate. Currently, what the traffic engineers are recommending is there's going to be 2 new lights. You're going to have a, wrong one. Here we go. There's going to be 2 new lights. You're going to have a light here, maybe in the stadium. And then you're going to have a light here at Brooks Farm Road and Gilbert. So you have those 2 lights. If you live that area, you know the construction is going on right now for it. Buses will take the blue route, so they'll be coming off of Gilbert Road. Buses will come down this entryway here, and then they will drop students off in this area. There's crosswalks that will bring the students over to the building itself. They will then go ahead and make a loop, and then exit back on Gilbert Road, turning right. As far as the flow of traffic for students and parents dropping off their child to the school, Brooks Farm Road is going to be widened. So students will go ahead and enter off of Brooks Farm Road. They'll enter the entrance over towards the end of the school. They'll come around this area. Currently, we have the students and families dropping off this, turning on this area right here, coming around, and then the drop-off will be on this side of the building. And then families will continue around this area and go ahead and exit out of the building. That is a mile long. So again, trying to be cognizant of the neighborhood and trying to make sure the flow of traffic moves. And if I need to make it longer, I can go ahead and move it up and bring it around. So we'll certainly kind of evaluate, but right now this is the traffic engineers are recommending based on the floor plan of the footprint of the school itself. So this area, it's a one-story building. We have our main gym in this area. We have 2 locker rooms, an auxiliary gym, wrestling room, weight room, equipment room. And then we have an auxiliary gym. And in that auxiliary gym, we have 4 additional locker rooms. And we also have a training room for students to use for their facilities. As we move our way around the school, we get to our E building. And again, you're looking at the facade on the west of the building, so this is the west end looking at it. It's a 2-story building. The first floor has 20 traditional classrooms. It's also where our marketing classroom and student store will be located. And on the second floor, we have 9 science classrooms. The biotech classroom will be located up there. And then we have 7 traditional classrooms as well. Bring our way to the C pod. On the C building, this is a 2-story building. The first floor is the administrative offices, so you have administration, counseling, attendance, nurse, library, and then there's 3 computer labs as well on the first floor. And then the second floor has 16 traditional classrooms. When we get to the D pod, the D building, again, it's a 2-story academic building. Kind of mirrors what you see in the D pod, but obviously we have some different classes. So the first floor has 18 traditional classrooms. We have a computer lab, and we also have our college and career center, which is Dalton, will be located and work with students. On the second floor, we have 13 traditional classrooms. Our culinary classroom is also located on the second floor. We have 2 computer classrooms, 2 CTE classrooms, and we have our speech and debate classroom also located in the D building. When it comes to the E pod, or the E building, this is our performing arts area. So now we're looking on this side of the building. We're looking actually at the entrance to the Performing Arts Center right here. This building will house our bookstore, our band room, our orchestra room, our media and film classroom, our TV studio, choir room. It does have 1 traditional classroom. We have our dance and yoga studio in this building, our drama room, and then our Performing Arts Center, which will be really exciting to have for students because they have not had a Performing Arts Center in the past, so we're looking forward to that. Now you have our cafeteria and kitchen area. You're looking at the front of this. You're looking at this part of it right here in the picture. This includes our cafeteria, the kitchen, the faculty lounge, and there's 2 outdoor eating ramadas on each side of the cafeteria that students that choose to eat outside and some who choose to do so. If you've been to Castile High School, this floor plan is very similar to Castile High School, but it has a bit of fashion and parity as well. Where Castile High School is all one building. In this part, you have your administration, computer labs, library, and your cafeteria is right here. But we are very fortunate that the district evaluated the idea of having a courtyard at the new campus, and so they pushed back the cafeteria and kitchen. And we have a very, very large courtyard that we can use for pep rallies, teachers can take classes out there. We were joking as an administrative team about parachuting in the first day of school and giving the kids a piece of the school, but I don't think the trust will let us do that, and I'm a little scared. But anyhow, so we have a nice courtyard for students to be a part of and socialize in. And then when we get to our athletic facilities, again, these are all on the west end of the campus. You have your varsity football and soccer field, the rubberized track. You have your varsity baseball, and you have your varsity softball fields, and you have your JV baseball and your JV softball fields. We do have 8 tennis courts. We have a practice field, which is down here. But if you remember the schematics of the school itself, there's also additional green belts located in the north end of the campus that can also be used as practice facilities. And then we have a field house. This is the main field house right here. It has 2 locker rooms, a traditional classroom, training room, and a concession stand. The one thing that I wanted to make sure is that when we are hosting a home game, I did not want our fans looking into the sunset. So the home stands are on the west end of the field, and the visitors will be sitting on the east field. So very similar to Perry High School, how the fans will be seated. So there's one little item on here that's in the wrong spot. This is originally where the home sides of the session stand and restrooms are going to be. Well, we really didn't want fans to have to walk all the way around to use the restroom, so it's going to be down here. So that's to be the only change you're going to see coming to the new site. So one of the things that I like to talk about when I have an opportunity to talk about ACP is why you should choose ACP. And when we talk about ACP, I talk about the 3 C's. And those are connections, community, and content. Connections are really important to me. We relationships are the basis of student success. You can be the best teacher in the world, but if you don't have relationships with your students, it's not going to make a difference. So connections are really, really important to me. And that's why we do our best to communicate in a timely manner. It's why we do our best to communicate what's going on in the school at all times. We send out a weekly newsletter every Sunday morning for families to be aware of what's coming up. And it's not just a glimpse at the week ahead. We do try to share important, relevant information as to what's going on. We also try to highlight students that are doing great things in our school community and outside the community as well. So we want to make sure that students have an opportunity to connect with individuals on our campus. It's really important that they have that connection. As far as community goes, we are a real world community. We are the most diverse school in CUSC. And I really appreciate you valuing that. I value the rich conversations that can take place, the learning that can take place in talking to somebody who is not you. And it just provides a depth of richness to our campus that I just really that I really enjoy and I don't want to take for granted. My own son attends ACP, and I appreciate what he has learned from his friends about who they are, and having the same opportunity to talk to them about who he is. And so I just would like that we have a real world community. Our students do work together, they do know one another. I often say the best thing about our schools are small, the worst thing about our schools are small. But we want to make sure that our upperclassmen connect with our underclassmen, because again, those connections are important. So we started something called the Night Connection Program, or ACP. It's our mentoring program, and it's different than what you would see in a traditional type of mentor program. Again, we try to do everything deliberately. So what we have done is we established a mentoring form where new students at any grade level would go ahead and fill out the type of mentor that they would like to work with. Who do they prefer working with? What do they enjoy? What are some common? What do they like doing? So then we go ahead and partner them with a mentor that has similar interests. And as opposed to just coming in the first day and saying, you're group one, there's your mentor, you're group two, there's your mentor. They have somebody that has something in common with them so they can make that connection with them right off the bat. And it's been very successful, even in a virtual environment. We've received numerous positive comments about the mentoring program and the connections the students are making with the upperclassmen. And then finally, content. Obviously, our goal is to make sure that we're teaching students with the ultimate goal of giving them a diploma in 4 years. And so we want to make sure that we have coursework and instruction that prepares our students for a seamless transition to college, or to a career, or to the military, or whatever they choose to do. Opportunities. We have opportunities for students to be leaders on our campus. We have opportunities for students to be involved in clubs on our campus. And then obviously we have an athletic program. So students just need to find out what they're interested in and get involved and be involved in it. And then as I mentioned at the beginning, we have an opportunity to earn college credit. They can do this one of two ways. The first is through dual enrollment. Dual enrollment is offered through Gilbert Community College. Our teachers are basically adjunct faculty for CGCC, and they will then teach a college course to our students on this campus. So for example, if students are taking AP Chemistry, they can take Chemistry 150 and Chemistry 101 through CGCC, but our teachers teach it here. As long as they earn a C or better in that course, they get the college credit for that class. So the students aren't just working on a high school transcript, they're also working on a college transcript. The other way that a student can earn college credit is through advanced placement opportunities, or AP courses. AP is offered through the College Board. The College Board is the same entity that creates the SAT. And so what happens is a student will enroll in an AP course or an advanced placement course, and at the end of the school year, they will take an AP exam. Passing on an AP exam, AP exam is scored at a 1 to 5 scale. Passing is typically considered a 3, 4, or 5. It's typically considered a passing score on an AP exam. But it is critical that students look at what the university they're interested in attending says as a passing score for that university. So for example, in AP English Language, ASU and U of A will accept a score of 4 as passing and award college credit for that score. But Embry-Riddle will accept a score of 3. So it's just critical that you be aware of where your child's thinking they want to go and know what the standards that the university has set for a passing score in AP. And obviously, if you have questions, Mrs. Dalton can help, the counselors can help, administration can help, and actually, Mrs. Dalton has on her website, this associate of her various colleges and universities. And then with the family connections, again, we want to make sure that we are not just a school, we want to be a family. You will never hear me refer to ACP as my school. It's not my school, it's our school. And we need to do whatever we can to make our school the best school in Arizona and the nation. And part of that is having family connections. So we have numerous opportunities for families to be involved. We have our school development committee, booster club, athletic booster clubs, club advisors, guest speakers. Love to have parents come in and talk to them in our classes. It's a great way for students to see their parents in a different light, and also a great way for parents to share their passions with our students. The other volunteers, obviously COVID has played a little bit as far as the opportunities, so we have guest speakers and volunteers. We also have a site council and a marketing committee. And if there's something that you want to bring to our campus, please let us know. We always have great ideas to make our school better tomorrow than we were today. And then we have commitment. We have very dedicated instructors. 85% of our teachers have a graduate degree, which is important for dual enrollment purposes. But the more important thing is all of the teachers that work at ACP understand that they cannot just come into their classroom and lock their door, teach, and then lock their door in the afternoon and go home. They need to be involved in our school in some manner, whether it be through coaching, club advising, whatever it is. We want them to have an opportunity to see students in a different way outside the classroom, and for our students to see their teachers in a different light as well. All of our teachers do offer before and after school tutoring. And then we also have a success program on our campus where students can get additional assistance from teachers. They can go ahead and make them exams if they're absent. Teachers can pull in small groups to work with them, or individual students to work with them on things that they're seeing them struggle with. And then college and career support, that's Mrs. Dalton's office. She helps bring colleges to the students and students to the college. She also brings careers to the students, internships to the students, helps them generate career and interest and knowledge. And then she promotes scholarship opportunities for students. She does a phenomenal job. She does an incredible job. I wish I had Mrs. Dalton when I was in high school. She will walk around our campus finding the left-handed students on our campus to remind them that the left-handed scholarship deadline is coming up. Being a left-handed individual, that would have been nice to know that left-handed scholarship. And because of her hard work, and because of the hard work of our teachers, and because of the incredibly hard work of our students and dedication that they have, we have the highest academic average offer of 375,000 students in the district. And that's just a testament to what everyone's trying to do as a family to help our students be successful. And then, of course, we have some accolades that we're proud of. Our most recent is last year we were recognized as a National Blue Ribbon School. NIST just came out with their top high school, Arizona high school ratings. We're number 8. The ratings go like this. They go basis, basis, basis. University high school, basis, 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 ACP. So being a comprehensive public high school and being number 8 is something that we're very proud of. And then we have a 100% graduation rate. We have a 95% matriculation rate for your colleges upon graduation. But more importantly, we have an 86% matriculation rate for students at 10 to 4 university from the freshman to sophomore year. The national average is much, much more. And, there's many reasons why a student is continuing from the freshman to sophomore year of college. Not just always academic, but we're excited to see that the majority of our students that do start a four-year university continue on their sophomore year. And then obviously a part of the China Unified School District, top-ranked district in Arizona, and then was the second highest rated district in the nation based on student growth in the New York Times a couple of years ago. So you have the backing of a big district, and you have the support of a campus that wants to help students be successful. So what I'm interested in is if you are wanting to be a part of the school development committee and want to help make our school the high school that you want it to be, this is your opportunity to let me know you have that interest. This QR code, if you just go ahead and scan it on your phone, the form will come up. You just enter some information in, and then I will contact you with the dates of our upcoming meetings. Obviously, if you have 100 people that want to be part of the committee, we're going to figure out making it smaller, with smaller groups meeting and having conversations and coming together to form some consensus and make some decisions. Certainly want to have all the decisions that we have coming up for the new school in place by March, but that's what we're looking at. So, with that said, I just want to thank you all for coming out this evening. I know it was a long presentation, but I do appreciate you coming out. I do appreciate you wanting to learn more about the new high school or maybe considering the new high school for your child. At this time, we're going to have to go